many of you felt the situation like, why is he not understanding? There's another repeated sentence used here. Are you getting me? So, what is wrong with overall communication? How do we fix this issue? Good afternoon, Toastmasters and guests. Yeah. It's an hard topic for a Toastmaster journey to understand how communication fails. Let me start with the quote of Bernard Shaw. He says, the simplest issue in the communication is illusion that is on its way. What it means to you is the communication message is not getting properly understood. The illusions overshadow the message and you miss the actual information. You'll be surprised to see a slide. So it is all about communication. The communication, it's not between a transmitter and receiver. Transmitter is the person you speak, the person who listening it. It's the channel that receives from all the elements of sensors. Sensors are eyes, nose, and ear, and also body. Let me give an example. If there is a fire, what is happening fire? You will be hearing the crackling noise of fire and you smell whatever the item getting burned, and also you see that the fire is coming and body will sense the heat. The moment this information passes to the body, it reaches to your brain. There is the three filters in our human being, whatever is happening. There is called knowledge, viewpoints, and emotion. Assume the emotion, like if you have your own valuable getting burned, the first emotion will come is sadness. The knowledge says, depending on the nature of fire. For example, if fire is a vehicle, you know there is a possibility that the vehicle can blast. So you have to run away from the place. If it is a hay or something, you can go and douse a fire. So that's a knowledge base. The viewpoint, this is one of the critical part in our communication, where there is a three element in it. One is called belief, the other is called attitude, third is called opinion. This is one of the most critical part in all your responses which you do. Viewpoint is the one, is a major part of communication filter or hampers overall communication. And so whatever that information it comes, not that every information you need to respond. Some of them for consumption. Like suppose you're traveling in 100 kilometer speed a car and there is some accident happen, already there is ambulances there. That's an information. I don't think you'll make a reaction for that. Whereas something happens just next to you, you may have to react. The action would be, again, the action which you want to do. For example, emotion of sadness. Suppose something got burnt, your own item. Emotion, I said sad. But when you don't react, suppose you know that the fire was happened because somebody put a cigarette butt or something, you get angry on a person. That is a response emotion. Whereas input emotion is sadness. Similarly, the viewpoint when it comes, some of the viewpoint I talk about belief. The belief in the viewpoint is something like it's more about morals and about religion related stuff, which you will never change. Whatever amount of communication it happens about your faith or morals, there is less likely to even you accept that fact. It will completely filter out. This information never reaches to the receiver. Then next part, come back to the attitude part. Attitude is the one which is normally formed over your early childhood, the way your upbring up in the social thing, cultural aspect. Attitudes are not difficult like a belief to change your traits. For example, your habit of getting up every day at 6 o'clock. and you want to change your, people say getting up before sunrise is 4 o'clock. These things, the triads, attitude and triads are more or less in similar fashion. To change that from getting up 6 o'clock to 4 o'clock, you need to make a lot of efforts to change it because it has been for past 10, 20 years, 30 years, and one day you want to change. Attitude also very difficult to change. The next part of things are kind of an opinion. The opinions are very easy to change. The reason being is you don't have a big say on it. It's like based on your knowledge, you think like for a simple thing like government law today, taxation law for a certain for a certain taxation like for 10 lakhs you have to pay tax of say 20%. It's a kind of opinion. What I mean to opinion is today the next government get changes, the number get changes. Those are the areas called opinions. So opinions can change anytime without much difficulties. Now, if you see that most communication failure happening when it falls onto the viewpoint area. When you want to communicate to anyone which is affecting the beliefs of a person, your communication 100% fails. If it is anything to do with your attitude part, your communication can fail 70%. Anything on opinion, your communication can more or less will get through. If you want your communication to be successful, if I have to summarize the whole aspect of communication, the transmitter and receiver. The transmitter is a person who spoke or the action that is taking place. The receivers are like the one which is receiving. The channels are the one which is the entire aspect, viewpoint and knowledge and emotion. This person to person will vary. That is why you never see like a case like the way you conveyed some messages based on their knowledge, based on their experience, it will not be well received by other side. If you want to be a successful communicator, whatever the information that you want to pass it to the person A to B, I mean, you want to convey it. Think a moment. Are you touching the viewpoints like a belief area? Are you touching about? You're talking about morals. You're talking about beliefs like a faith. You have to be very careful. If you go to a church, you want to talk about anything on this, is fine. But if you want to talk in a public, it definitely not because everybody has different faith. The other aspect, try it's like something you want to change, you have to put a lot of efforts in the whole activity. Whereas opinion will change. So if you want to be successful, focus and take care about all the filters of other human being. It is not the transmitter fault, it is also the person how he is receiving it. So I request all of you use the knowledge of communication thing, viewpoints, knowledge, and emotion, these information while you're conveying to A to B, and make it a successful communication. Over to MC.